I just did an episode on the most valuable car in the world, the 1955 Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe. The car sold a few years ago for over $150 million. There's only 2 examples of this car ever built. You'll have to check out the full episode on this amazing beast of a car, but one of the things I'm learning over and over with my collector car episodes I've been doing is that if you want to learn about the most amazing cars ever created, you'll find that almost all roads lead to Le Mans. This race that's been going on for over 100 years, it's much more than just a race. You could say that the 24 Hours of Le Mans race is at the heart of motorsports and the proving ground for automotive innovation all the way back to nearly the very beginning of auto racing. Anyway, I was telling you about this Mercedes Uhlenhaut Coupe episode I just did, and it's crazy, but again, the story of that car is tied to Le Mans forever because of the horrific crash that happened during the race in 1955. Mercedes was involved in a terrible crash where cars actually went into the crowd and killed more than 80 spectators. And this awful crash changed racing forever. Mercedes decided to withdraw from racing the following year, and they didn't return until this story we're talking about here with the Sauber Mercedes in 1989. Those 2 Uhlenhaut Coupe cars that I was talking about, the 300 SLR Mercedes race cars, were built for racing back in mid-1955. They were completed just before this horrific crash at Le Mans, and they were actually registered for a race that would be scheduled later on that year. But after this terrible crash, that race was canceled, and then Mercedes decides to exit racing. Well, those 2 cars were now just sitting around in the parking lot at Mercedes, and the legendary engineer Rudolf Uhlenhaut, he decides to drive them around town as his personal cars, and that's how they got their name, the Uhlenhaut Coupe. He was actually driving race cars around town, and they looked like passenger cars because they built these coupe panels over the top, but these were actually race cars that they were designing to run, and they never ran. So that's just one example of how all these episodes, on how all these stories are linked together through racing. And it's not all joyful stories. Some of it's tragedy, heartbreak, failure, and then there's the victory and success sprinkled in there too.